have all the financial reparations been paid out of the 36 affected families of the Marikana tragedy to date? And will you agree to series demand to pay general and constitutional damages to the 320 individual family members who were also affected?
No, thank you very much. I think the only question that I'm able to respond to is from Nozintombi Mia. And that in fact pertains to the Marikana litigation. I think there is an indication of 36 families. Our records thus far only indicate that we've got 34 families. They could be that, as we have indicated previously, perhaps one of the deceased minors might have been married to more than one spouse, and in that way, you could be able to get the number 36. We have, outside of the top tier recommendations of the Commission, what is required of us is to deal with only one aspect, reparation in relation to litigation. And the other aspects reside elsewhere. They would not have anything to do with the Department of Justice. So reparation is very expansive in that sense, because the top tier recommendations had about 10. So I'm only able to talk about the one which in fact refers to or relate to litigation. And as the Minister has indicated, we have disbursed 352 million rand for both the deceased family members, the 34, as well as those that were injured and those that were detained and arrested. And we have considered, in the spirit of having to resolve these matters, we have considered the merits. The only issue that had remained was the quantum, which, according to the current records, we have met. The only residual issue that is there is a test case, if I may put it that way. And this is now the second part of the question, which is, does government agree to compensate the 320 individuals that form part of the general constitutional or general and constitutional damages claim? As the Minister has already indicated, this is a test. There is nothing in our law of delict as we speak right now that speaks to the issue of constitutional damages, at least in the realm that is in fact outlined in the matter before court. But if the question were posed differently, were the courts to make that determination, will government be amenable to honor the decisions of the court? Yes, by all means. The courts are an extension of the Department of Justice and will be guided accordingly. And we await the courts to make that pronouncement, because there is no agreement. And even accepting that there is an agreement, the Minister of Justice is only responsible for the policy and legislation that deals with litigation. The baseline budget holder will be the South African Police Services. There is no way that we can make commitments on behalf of another government department. And state attorneys that are dealing with these matters are doing so because they are creatures of instructions. And there is none of those matters from the 320 that requires perhaps the minister or at least the principals within justice to make a decision to settle or not to settle. If settlement is to be reached based on a court decision, the baseline budget that is going to be implicated will be that of another government department, and normal processes will have to be followed. But as at the current moment, their instructions are, there is no recognition of constitutional damages, and to the extent that that is so, they'll be guided by the outcome of the court. Thank you very much.